Welcome to Running My Journey. I am Dan, your host, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about my January 1, first of the year, 5K time trial. And it wasn't as glamorous as I thought it would be, but it wasn't as bad as either. So let's get right into it. This may be a little bit shorter podcast today, but that's okay. Sometimes we only have a little bit of time. And I only had a little bit of time to figure out some issues going on during my 5K time trial. So here in Michigan, it is actually pretty warm for January. It was in the 40s, and so I was going to take full advantage of that and be able to get outside and run and not do this time trial on the treadmill. So I got to where I was going to run, not too many hills, a slight incline at the beginning, but that means a slight decline at the back end because it was going to be an out and back. Trails for most part, a little bit pavement. So there was a sense that maybe the trails would be a little bit muddy, but they weren't too bad actually. There's only one bad muddy part right on that hill going up and down. But otherwise, it was a great trail, great day. I felt actually better than I thought. But we start the 5K time trial, and maybe about a minute into it, I looked down at my watch just to see, okay, what is my pace? Because I feel like I'm running way too fast, and I'm not going to be able to sustain this pace, which is usually my issue in races. I go out way too fast. And but that's just my mentality, Steve Prefontaine mentality, I guess. But that's what I did in high school cross country. I was kind of the rabbit to run out as fast as I can, and then the wolf pack, our varsity's top 5 runners, would stick together and just crush everybody. But that's another time for another story. But so I looked at my watch and it was black, like I couldn't see anything. So quickly hit a button, see if maybe it's just like went dim, went to sleep. No response. So of course I'm like, oh come on, you got to be kidding me. So I stop it. I was able to do a quick like a reboot on it, and I'm like, okay. I try to go back to the running part, the running app. Section on the watch, and it was not connecting to the GPS. And I'm like, all right, okay. So I pull out my phone, resync it with the phone because they always say, you should resync it with it. Although I just did that earlier in the day, but I did it again to see if that would help. No, it did not help. So I sat there for maybe a couple minutes. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have time for this. I didn't have the patience for it. This was already going to be a mental challenge to see if I could do this 5K, to even just run in the whole time, to even complete it. I was starting to get a little bit cold because I wasn't moving. And I was about to say, forget this, I'm done. So I just started it without the GPS and figure, all right, GPS will catch up sometime, and then it will just, use my foot movement and so forth. So when I look at my results, I do have to take into effect, I'm not fast, but I do have to take into effect that GPS was not working until, looking at the thing, not until like maybe the last half mile, and maybe a little bit more, about the last half mile, then GPS connected for me. So not great for that. So I had to take in fact that my arm movement, pacing, and the movement of the watch, the accelerator, is what is telling it what pace I'm doing. So if I was drinking and not moving my arm, the pace would say I was going really slow. Or if I was videotaping, because I did do some quick videos as I was moving. And so my my pace would jump around throughout that race or throughout that time. Um, so I'm looking at my results here real quick on here. You guys can see if you're on YouTube, you can see kind of my zone, my pace zones here. I do need to update these because they are not current. But you can see there was that 14 in zone 2, about 5 minutes, 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and even the tempo where it was not where I wanted it to be, but I think that was due because of my watch. And so my time is I think, is slower than what it should be. But that's okay. Um, that gives me a starting point, gives me a hope that there is going to be easier times in the future. And then the second thing to note, and I'm very proud of this one, is I did run the entire time. Even if I slowed up a little bit, I was not walking at all. Um, Getting through that mental break, getting through that mental challenge was tough. And there was times that I was right, okay, time to walk. But I just kept pushing forward, kept pushing forward. I'm like, oh, all right, I'm at the turnaround point. So let me get to this point. And then just kept going. And then as I was coming back, and maybe because the out is a little bit more inclined, even at different parts of the out, coming back felt a little bit easier because it was more going downhill. So I will take that. Always have a good race plan, race route to crush your goals. But I felt really good. I mean, I was tired. I was breathing hard. My heart rate was out of the world. It was, if you're looking on YouTube, I had 26 minutes, almost 27 minutes in my tempo zone, if these are the accurate for me zones, 153 through 169. And then I had almost 11 minutes in the threshold area. So my heart, I mean, it was up there for me. I like to be in that 160-ish range usually, but when I'm running, I know that's where I feel, I think, the best. Obviously, less makes me feel easy, but if I'm working and in that 160 range, it would be good. My cadence, and this is something that I threw up on Instagram. Is 180 still the standard for cadence? I've been reading some research that 180 is not necessarily the standard, 100% standard. That some of the top runners now run anywhere from like 155 to 210 cadence steps per minute. I was about 160, if I remember, if I have that on here somewhere. 160, and then 170 was my 161 was my average, and then 170 was my max, and that was right at the beginning. I did fall down into 156. Here, I'll let people on YouTube see that. 156, 162. Let's see what's 158. Here's 164, so that's not too bad there. But again, you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the how some of my time, it's all over the place, because I think it's depending on if I was videotaping or drinking or whatnot. So the course was great. Again, it was slow, or it was flat with that little incline, just enough for me to feel good. All right, so getting to the mileage here and my pace here. So my overall time was 39 minutes and 39 seconds. So I will take that. I will take that 100%. I feel that that's, even if I felt like I was running faster than that, it's a great start. So my first mile, usually a faster mile, because I go out too fast, was 12 minutes and 37 seconds. And that was, I wanted to say in my head, I was thinking, about 13 minutes, between 12:30 and 13-minute miles. I would be happy with that. Second mile, that tough mile, 13:13. And then the last mile, 12:37 as well, or 12:36, according to average. Oh, this is round up a little bit. But you can see here in lap 1, the first mile, I was in my VO2 max. All right, running 12:36. Then I went to lap 2, my threshold, and then back into, it stayed in my threshold. So that is unique to see that the third mile, they said it was my threshold. And then the finish, the last bit, running hard to get done in my anaerobic state at 11:21 minute pace. So I think I'm at a good starting spot for this time trial. Again, I'm excited that I was able to run the whole thing. My legs are sore today. So when you're listening to this is actually a week later than I did it. But that's okay. I'm trying to make sure I have enough content for you guys and be able to go into some other things as we move along. But I was, again, disappointed that my watch did not set up correctly. If you're in the Michigan, Detroit area, there's a Heinz Drive. Look it up. Miles and miles of pavement to run on. And then throughout the areas, there are bike trails and hiking trails to add a little bit of trail running. And the spot where I ran is one of my favorite spots. It's like this Newberg Lake. And you're able to just be able to, beautiful views. There's some houses in there, but for the most part, you're pretty secluded on this trail. Especially if you get into the trails, there are some good hills on there. There's about 7 miles worth of trails in this path, and then you can connect it to a bunch of more trails and bike paths. They want to say they say there's 15 right now, 20 miles worth of bike trails all connected throughout this Heinz Drive. So I will be running at this place multiple times throughout the year. It's one of my favorite places to run. So what are your goals? Have you done a time trial yet? Have you decided to step it up? I was listening to a motivational speech just a minute ago, talking about, we all have these goals. We all have these, new year, new me. But are we willing to do what it actually takes to get us to where we want to be? Are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to give up maybe some of the things that you enjoy doing but don't help you get to where you want to be? Are you willing to, do what it takes? And I'm trying this year, trying to do this, trying to do it. I hope you guys join me on this journey as I run my journey. But I'm also here to learn. I'm also here to share my knowledge. I'm also here to grow as a person, as a father, as a husband, as a leader, as a principal, as, a son, as, every part of me I want to become better at. And I'm doing that, one step at a time. During the holidays, you eat so much, and I'm mad at myself at some points because I think I did overeat more than I wanted to or more than I should. But at the same time, my weight did not fluctuate too much. It did go up a couple pounds. I'm not as where I was right before Christmas. So from this last week, from Christmas to New Year, I'm a couple pounds up. But I'm going to, start working on that, start kicking it back down. I'm starting counting my calories again. I always find that's a good thing to do. So 5K race, get back to a point here. It was overall a great effort, I think, from me. I'm looking forward to it. I need to, work on what is my, heart rate. What zones should I be at? My pace. What pace should I have it at? My relative effort was a 98. So that was a strong effort than what I have been doing. Some of these 5K or the couch to 5K have not been high efforts. Some of the biking has been pretty low as well. So a 98 compared to what I have been doing is great. So it actually raised my weekly well above weekly range, 217. And then the good thing about Strava is I can see my goals and where I want to be, and how many miles I may be ahead or behind on my miles. So that's going to be a key for me to utilize to make sure that I am staying on target and staying on track. I know for today, I this beginning of this year, because I'm doing the couch to 5K 3 days a week only, my running will be down a little bit. So I have to watch and make sure I don't get too far behind that I can't make it up in the back. And then biking, I definitely need to make sure. Like yesterday, my legs were just shot, so I didn't get on the bike at all. But today I'm going to. But it's great. I love seeing the kind of the activity count, bar graph, and where I was last year. February, March, April, when I started that training block, I was working really hard. It was great. And then I went down, and then there was like 3 months there I didn't do anything over the summer, really, besides that half marathon. And now it's starting to pick back up. So, all right, guys, I enjoy talking with you. I enjoy that you are with me on this journey. I hope that you follow, subscribe, wherever you listen to this or watch this. If you go to my Instagram account and in my profile, I have a link tree, and that has all my links on there. If you guys can please just take a look, subscribe to the items that you can, and really, really look at that Patreon. And I'm just, I know it's money, and it takes a commitment to give money up, but I'm just $1 a month would help me out so much. And be able to encourage myself, but also to help encourage others. I'm trying to really hard to work on getting some of the former spare tire runners back into running and getting it on. So with that, have a great run. Whatever you're doing, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here for you because every step counts.